I'll just start that again. Okay, welcome everyone to How to Be a Funny Speaker. With me, Kate Burr. There is a beautiful photo of me. Here is me. That's me. I am a comedian, and so I usually work at night. So today's a little bit exciting. I get to do stuff I don't usually do, like see daylight. And I've swapped my high heels for Ugg boots, so I'm feeling pretty comfy, and this is really good. Alrighty, so today on the webinar, we're going to be talking about how to use humour to build rapport faster in your present and get engagement with the audience, so you communicate your message more effectively, ultimately making more sales through referrals. Making more money through sales, referrals, and repeat business. And I'll also be answering some of the most common questions I get asked about adding humour, like how do you add humour without being cringeworthy? How do you add humour and still be taken seriously? And what to do if you're just not a funny person. So before we get started, I just want to let you know that I'm a comedian. I like to have a bit of fun. I'll be keeping things pretty casual and informal. And at the end of the webinar, I'll also show you where to go to get more help if you want. So if that sounds all good, just type into the box for me. Let's go. Okay, everyone's on go. Oh, let's go, baby. Yeah, all right, like that one. Okay, so during this webinar, we're going to talk about how to use humour as a speaker to quickly and easily build rapport with your audience to keep them engaged the whole way through so you can get to your message across more effectively. So at the end of your presentation, they're ready to take the next step with you, whether that be to buy your product or use your service or to take it to the next step in making a change to their lives or the lives of others. Now, I'm only going to have about an hour with you today, so we'll be moving pretty quickly. So take notes best you can, and at the end, I'll be happy to give you a copy of today's slides. So if anyone wants that, can you just type into the comment box, yes, please? And I'm also not great at remembering stuff all the time, especially when I get really focused on something. So if somebody can just ask me during the Q&A session at the end, that would be great if I forget to tell you. Cool. All right, Joanne, excellent. Thank you, Joanne. Awesome. There's a couple more coming in. Excellent. Alrighty, so now I just want to reassure everybody who's joined us today that this is not going to be a comedy course. It's I'm not going to be a session on how to get up at a microphone and make a room full of people laugh, because you can do comedy courses for that. Today is about using humour as a speaker to build the rapport, engage with the audience, and using that relationship to your advantage. So why would you even want to do this? Let's start with the most common problems when speaking to an audience. Now, I just want everyone just doing a little bit of a survey this morning. If you can just raise your hand, well, not actually raise it because I can't see that, but press the little button on the side control panel if you've ever had the following happen when you've been speaking. So if anyone's been staring at you like you're on TV, if people are checking their emails, if they are playing on their phone, if they're playing Candy Crush on their phone, they're wondering what they'll have for lunch, they're regretting just what they ate for lunch, or you can't get any response from them whatsoever. No matter how hard you try, you get nothing. Yeah, cool. Okay, so we've got a couple of hands going up there. Okay, thank you, everyone. Pop them down now. Now, you may not even be aware, but those things can actually lead to problems with your delivery, can't you? So, like, hands up if you've ever had trouble getting engagement from the audience. You're spending all your energy trying to get them to interact with you, and you're focusing your attention on getting interaction instead of delivering your best content. Yeah, cool. All right, thanks. You can pop your hands down again now. And all this sort of stuff can lead to nerves because you worry about how it will go, if you'll do a good job, and if they'll just stare at you on TV, or worse still, fall asleep right in front of you. Because then the really big problems from that is actually that your presentation is unmemorable, you don't stand up from the crowd, and your message just simply gets lost. And I want you to think about what that's really costing you. Like, how many opportunities could you be missing out on? Like, how many people are you speaking to that take no action? And are your conversion rates at the level that you want them to be at? And are you being remembered? And are you getting referrals because you are standing out? And are you getting repeat business because you are so good that they want you back? Alrighty, cool. So let's have a look at the 6 most common presentation problems and where does this all fall over and why could it all be happening in the first place? So the 6 most common presentation problems are that it's boring, it's too technical, it's not interesting, it's not relevant to the audience's level, it's too advanced for the audience, I love that lady. I think that would be my nana if she was still alive. And your presentation skills suck. So luckily that there is one solution that will fix all of these 6 problems, and that is to make it entertaining by adding humour. Now, just on a side note, I only noticed this morning when I was going through my stuff. I have a look at that lady in the background. What's with her and the big evil green eyes? Okay. Very, very bizarre. Alrighty, anyway, so now, when Chris Ducker spoke at the Pro Blogger Conference earlier in the year, he talked about 3 things that all content should be. And he reckons that great content should be educational, so you can show or help or educate your audience, and do something that teaches them how to use a new tool or resource and understand a complex topic. It also has to be inspirational, so you can get your audience thinking about what they're doing, how they're doing it, and what the outcome of their actions might be. And it also needs to be entertaining, so it keeps their attention, it keeps them engaged, and it keeps them coming back. So if you're already speaking, you've probably got the educational and inspirational parts down pat, but how are you going with the entertaining part? It's really easy to dismiss the entertaining part as it can seem not that important, but it's actually the part that can have the most impact on getting your message through to the audience. And entertaining with humour is such a good way because everyone loves funny. Like, comedy festivals are huge and they're held in so many countries each year, and top comedians are making massive money from being funny. Like Jerry Seinfeld's annual earnings last year was $32 million, and Michael McIntyre from the UK, he's earning $21 million. 21 million pounds just from being funny. And laughing's really good for your audience too, because in the book A Better Brain at Any Age, the author Sandra Kornblatt talks about the new field of gelotology that's exploring the many benefits of laughter. Like, it increases blood flow and lowers blood pressure because it's oxygenating all the blood. Sorry, I'm getting all technical here. It gives a workout to the diaphragm and the abdominal, respiratory, facial, leg and back muscles. It reduces certain stress hormones such as cortisol and adrenaline. It increases memory and learning, and it improves alertness, creativity and memory retention. And while I was preparing this webinar, I was telling a friend about all these benefits and of laughter, and she just goes, "Oh, good, because laughter is the only aerobic exercise I get." So thanks for that one. And laughing feels good too. Like, people just want to work with people who make them feel good. Now, poet and political right activist Maya Angelou said it best when she said, "People don't always remember what you say or even what you do, but they always remember how you made them feel." So how does your audience feel after you've spoken to them? Do they feel stressed, confused and a bit overwhelmed, or are they feeling relaxed, happy and confident and able to make a really clear decision? So it's all good and well to know that people love humour and it makes you feel good, but there's also another really important reason to use humour, and that's to do with your brain. Because researchers at Stanford University have discovered that by creating relationships between 2 disconnected items, you actually are engaging the whole brain. So less than half a second after exposure to something funny, an electrical wave moves through the higher brain functions of the cerebral cortex, which is that mushy stuff all at the top there, right? And then, so the red side, like the left hemisphere of your brain, the red in red, has to analyse the words and the structures of the joke. And then the right hemisphere in orange, that actually gets the joke. And the visual sensory area of the occipital lobe in blue, this bit here, creates the images. And then the motor sections here make you smile and laugh. And this yellow bit here is the auditory processing. So when you're listening to something, that bit fires. And then the limbic system, which is actually sort of like in the middle of the brain, like underneath all the mushy stuff, it's a bit more solid. That bit there makes you actually, like, that's the emotional system and runs the emotions, and that makes you happier. So it's like you wouldn't have thought laughter could do all that, but it actually does. And just by the way, how many webinars have you been to and heard the word occipital? That's $25 worth of value right there, I reckon. So if you haven't had enough coffee this morning and you've got no idea what I've just said, which is pretty fair enough because that was way over my head the first time I heard it too, basically when you laugh, your brain looks like this. It's firing on all cylinders, and it means it's at the optimal level for understanding and learning, which is bloody brilliant if you want your audience to be in a peak state. Now, before I go any further, I want to issue a warning. Before you go cracking jokes all over the place now because you know all the benefits of laughter, it's important to mention that humour should be used like a spice to highlight your business message and to not overshadow it. So like using it like a spice, too much it's terrible, not enough and you can't tell it's there, and just the right amount will turn the bland into amazing. So you don't just randomly add humour to a presentation. There are very specific parts where you would use it. And the 9 reasons why and how to use comedy in a speech is number 1, to warm up the crowd. Laughter really helps break the ice when you're in a group. And think for a moment how your body feels whenever you laugh or smile. Words like relaxed, warm, free, lighthearted often come to mind, and that's exactly how you want your audience to feel from the start. It's great to build rapport and connection. Many scientists believe that laughter allows humans to connect, bond, and communicate with each other. And the more you laugh, the more comfortable you feel. So when humour is used effectively, you can build trust and rapport faster with your audience. And laughter is one form of communication to which everyone can relate, regardless of what country you're from and what language you speak. Number 3, humour is really good to keep people in a positive state, to keep an open mind. Because humour relieves the tension, laughing can release the negative emotions like aggression, fear, anger, or confusion. And it also relaxes your muscles, which helps reduce stress and muscle tension. So that's why if you've ever had a doctor or nurse crack a joke just before they gave you an injection, they weren't trying to audition as a stand-up comedian. They were actually trying to keep you relaxed so you don't tighten your muscles before the shot. And if you've also been lucky enough to experience this for yourself, you'll know that doctor jokes are often on par with dad jokes. So all good. Okay, number 4, it can help break down the barriers because the audience feels like you get them. I love the quote from Victor Borger when he says that laughter is the shortest distance between two people. And that's just, yeah, I completely agree with that. I was talking before about how studies show that laughing stimulates both sides of the brain. So if people are laughing when they hear something, they get the message quicker and remember it longer. So using humour in that way is really good to highlight the important points to make them more memorable in your presentation. Or you can also use it to highlight their problems so they pay more attention to the impact it is having on them in their lives. Number 7, it's a really good way to bridge gaps in levels of understanding. If you've got a very technical element to your message that intimidates people, bringing a bit of humour into the equation can explain things in a non-threatening and funny way. And humour is said to be the great equaliser, as laughter is a common language. So you can use humour to get everyone on the same level playing field. And medical research also shows that whenever we laugh, we release a wave of chemicals through the body, including the endorphin hormone, which is released during healthy exercise. And they're the body's natural pain relaxant, and they stimulate feelings of well-being, joy, and they release a high. So laughing is a good way to assist your audience and counteract that slight feeling of inadequacy when you can't understand something or when it seems too difficult or beyond you. So you just can sort of counteract all those icky feelings that the audience is having. It's really good to explain complicated messages because you're both speaking the same language, and it's also especially true if it's something that they have to stick with that for a while until they get it. Like if you need to keep their attention for a really long time to explain every single bit of what you're talking about, using humour is a good way to keep them interested until you've explained the whole process. And humour is really good for energy moves and shifts, like changing the energy in the room, getting people refocused again. It's perfect if you've just done some group work and you need to get their attention back at the front, or if no one's interacting with you, or for those times like if you have to speak straight after lunch. And laughter actually gives a workout to the diaphragm and all the muscles like your abdominal, respiratory, facial, leg and back muscles. So the effect of laughing has been likened to physical exercise. So you know how some speakers, they get the audience moving or they get them to stand up for a bit of a stretch halfway through their presentations or whatever. You can actually just get them to laugh and it will have the same effect. And being funny in your speech helps you to be liked, so people stay with you for the duration. It's like if you were to go on a bus journey and there's a grumpy bus driver, it's going to be a long ride. If you're the driver and you want to make it enjoyable so everyone has a fun trip and it will feel like you get to your destination quicker and people will feel refreshed when they get there. So if if you're the speaker, like you want to use that analogy, is like you want to get your audience to get on at point A, and that's the start of your speech, and then get off at point B where you sell them a product or service or ask them to make a change in their life. And if that bus ride during the middle is not enjoyable and they ring that bell and get off early, you're never going to get them to the sell point at the end. So now you have a choice to make. Do you want to use humour and entertainment in your presentation to keep the audience in the palm of your hand, to control the energy flow in the room and maintain audience interaction? Or do you want to not use humour and leave those things to chance? So maybe can we just have a bit of just type in the comment box if you think it's something that you want to possibly use, or you think it might be useful to use. Pop some comments in or raise your hands maybe. So for sure from Paula, yep, thank you. And Joanne says absolutely. And Shane says very useful. Excellent. So this is good. Thank you everyone for your feedback. That's awesome. So we've just talked about how important it is to add humour, but I'd love to know if you are feeling a little bit uncomfortable right now. Like I'm just wondering if I've opened up a big can of worms for anyone's. Now raise your hands, and I promise I won't say out any names, but who's feeling a little bit torn right now between I can really see the benefits of being funny, but there is no way in hell I'm ever going to go there. Okay, cool. Yeah, we've got a few people. All right. So I thought there would be a few people going up. Okay, thanks everyone. You can pop your hands down again now. So I can tell you why you're probably feeling a little bit like that, and it's because people usually think they are either funny or they're not. And if they're not funny, they think that there is no way they're going to learn to do that shit either, because that involves standing on stage with a microphone at a comedy club, and that's big time out of your comfort zone stuff, because usually at these sorts of things, the spotlight is on you. I've been a comedian for 12 years, and the most common thing that people say to me when they find out what I do is, oh my God, that must be the hardest job in the world. To do public speaking is hard, but to make them laugh as well, my gosh, that's so brave. And I don't actually find it scary at all. You know how some people jump out of planes and they get all pumped up at the end of it? Well, that's exactly how I feel with comedy. But just for the record, I've got absolutely no intention of jumping out of a plane. But I keep getting asked the same question over and over and over and over and over again, and it got me thinking, why do actually people think it's even so hard? And Jerry Seinfeld said that the number one fear of people is public speaking, and the number two fear of people is death. So he reckons that if you're at a funeral, most people would rather be in the casket than giving the eulogy. And I just don't understand that. I think the answer to why it is so hard is, in most part, doing comedy or being funny is a process that is learnt by trial and error. And I don't know if you realise, but this isn't normal trial and error in the privacy of your own home. It's trial and error in front of a live crowd, often a very honest, very drunk, yelling all sorts of stuff right in the middle of your set sort of crowd. So it's pretty much a baptism of fire. And most people aren't really prepared, or maybe that's stupid, to keep fronting up time and time again until they get good. So I can completely understand why you might be feeling a little bit uncomfortable or totally freaking out right now. So just want to assure you that what I'm talking about today, there's no need for a stage, a drunken crowd, or any microphones to be funny. Because the other problem is, by the time most comedians get good, they've usually spent so many years working on it, or they were either naturally funny to start with. So comedians aren't really conscious of what they're even doing now, because to be funny, they're just acting on the instinct, and they're not aware of each of the single steps they take, and they just do it and it works. But the problem with that is that then when you're trying to be funny if you're wanting to be funny, it still remains a mystery to everybody else. So it wasn't until Country Arts commissioned my colleagues and I to run a comedy workshop that we had to actually break down the process of what we did and work out how to teach it to others. And as it turns out, once you know what you're doing, it's actually pretty easy and straightforward to be funny. And this is something that I would have loved to have known 12 years ago as well, when I first started out. And I'll probably get in trouble with some comedians in the industry who think that comedy is very special and it's something that you can't teach. It's just something that you have. But during the workshop, we managed to teach a room full of women how to be funny and each do a full 3-minute stand-up comedy routine. Now, these women that we worked with went from I'm not funny and I'm not actually even sure I want to do this when they walked into the room at the start of the 5 weeks. And then 5 weeks later at their graduation performance, they all got a standing ovation. So we're really excited with that. And we thought, oh, cool, I think we might have cracked the code there. And I'm glad to say that the year after we did another workshop and we did it again just to prove to ourselves that it wasn't a fluke. So the good news for everybody is that being funny is actually teachable and there's a step-by-step process to follow so that you can learn it. Now, just because most of us aren't going to study and learn to be a surgeon doesn't mean we can't put a Band-Aid on a kid's knee. And it's the same for being funny. You might not ever sell out stadiums or do a HBO comedy special because to get to that level takes years of learning and working and developing your skills, but you can certainly learn enough to add a bit of funny to your presentation. And the other good thing for you guys is that as speakers, if you try something and it doesn't work, no one will even know it was meant to be a joke. Unlike a comedian where you're there purely for the purpose of making people laugh, you can just slide stuff in there, see if it works, and if it doesn't, move on and nobody will be any the wiser. So you can just slide right under the radar. And then the next question is like, what do you do if you're one of those people that thinks, oh, I'm just not a funny person? Well, the good news is that everybody can be funny. Unlike an astronaut or a doctor or anything else where you need qualifications, there is no diploma, no job, no degree that you first need in order to be funny. And I think that that's where a lot of people struggle with the concept, because if you have a teaching degree, then you're a teacher, or if you have a business, then you're a business owner, but there's nothing you can actually get to prove that you are funny. So on the flip side of that argument, there's nothing you can get to say that you aren't funny either. So let's use that to our advantage. So I hereby declare by the order vested in me of no actual authority or significance, if you have ever in your life made someone laugh, including yourself, then drumroll, congratulations, you are funny. The fact is anyone can be funny. You just have to step up to the plate and claim the title. So you can now choose to keep pretending that you aren't funny or just accept that you are and start using that to your advantage. So what's everyone want to do? Do you want to pretend that you aren't funny or say that you are? Type it in the comment box for me. Yes, we've got a couple of people agreeing that they are. This is good. Thank you, Paula. Thank you, Jay. Okay, awesome. Alrighty, so now that we've got that sorted and everyone's stepping up to the plate to be funny, the million-dollar question that we need to ask now is how to be funny on cue rather than it being a hit and miss affair. So it's now time to show you the 3-step secret formula for being funny. Now, I know there's a couple of technical aspects to learn, but the essence is this. Number 1, know yourself and be yourself. Number 2, know the audience. And number 3, hold up a mirror of truth. Okay, so number 1, be yourself, which is also the answer to how to be funny without being cringeworthy. Because if you just be yourself, being funny will appear effortless and genuine. And if you try and be someone else, it'll just show up on people's bullshit radars and people will run for the hills. So if you don't believe me, may I present the toupee? Just like a toupee, if there's anything about you that is not 100% the genuine article, it's not believable to your audience or to yourself either. Now, so you might be asking yourself, like, how do you now be yourself? Like, first off, you have to know yourself, and that's what we're talking in the communication sense here. So, like, do you like to use short sentences and get to the point, or do you like to tell stories? Are you upbeat? Are you deadpan serious? Are you casual? Are you formal? Are you creative and visual? Are you analytical and wordy? Do you like to use PowerPoint? Do you like to describe things with your words? And then once you've worked out what you're about and who you are, then you just need to play up to your strengths and put your personality on steroids, because it's you and you can be super comfortable with what you're doing as it's just an extension of your personality, or like more of a supercharged version of you. Because then what you do from there is you put everything through your specific personal filter, right, and approach things from the point of view with your personality and your spin on it, because that is where your funny voice is. Now, the good thing about this is that all styles work, right? Because, like, if you think about Billy Connolly, like, he is, like, just crazy. He's loud, he swears lots, he moves around the stage, he's all over the shop. If you've ever seen him, he's just like an uncontrollable ball of energy, right? And then you've got like somebody like Rowan Atkinson or Mr. Bean, and he's much more drawn in and he's very twitchy and he's very quiet and he hardly ever says anything. But both of those guys are completely smashing it worldwide with their success of being funny. And then you got people like Jerry Seinfeld. He's very almost like smug. He's very sarcastic. He's confident. He's very laid back. So all these people are very funny people who 100% own their style, and they know their styles and they don't try to be anyone else. And the fact that they're being themselves is what makes them funny. So the good news is you don't have to be the stereotypical big nose, fake glasses, cigar person going waka 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 to be funny. You just have to be yourself. So now you've got the choice to copy somebody else's style and risk being try-hard, fake funny and cringeworthy, or you can be effortless and stylishly funny by just being 100% you, yourself. So what does everyone choose? Just type it in the box. Not you or true? True, true. Thank you, Paula. Thank you, Joanne. Casual. Thank you, Jay. True, Prue. Thank you, Amanda. Nice little bit of Cat and Kim reference there. Awesome. Okay. Cool. Awesome. There's a couple more. Thank you, everyone. That's great. This is awesome. All right. So the next question we commonly get asked about being funny is can you be funny and still be taken seriously? Which leads us to step 2 of the secret formula about knowing your audience. Because the reason you need to know your audience is that you want to find a common ground between you and your audience that you can use for the basis of being funny. And if it relates to parts of their life that directly relate to your business, product, or service or message, even better. Because often funny is in the truth. So you need to know your audience enough so that you can make observations on their truth or their most likely experiences. So when you're getting to know your audience, having a think about what your audience are doing, think about things like their age, their demographics, what's their level of understanding, what do they do for work, what do they do after work, what sort of social media are they using, what phones do they have, because there's usually a lot of fun sort of in having rivalry between the whole Android Apple thing or what sort of thing. What sort of cars do they drive? Are they high end? Are they just like the old bomb sort of things? What sort of life stage are they at? Have they got kids at home? Have they got grandkids at home? Have they got nobody at home? They're just doing whatever they please? Those sorts of things. Because they're all the sorts of things that can help you find topics that you can use for the basis of being funny. So when you speak from a place of understanding and how your message interacts with their life, your audience's life, you'll be able to be funny and still be taken seriously, because your humour is on message and with your brand and your style, and it relates to your audience, and it will all integrate together really nicely. So now you have the choice to use humour within those boundaries of your message and your brand, or include some random jokes and humour that are off message and undermine your authority from a joke book. So maybe if everyone can just type into the box for me, would you rather adapt your humour to your audience so you can stay on brand, or grab a random joke out of a joke book and hope that will do? So type in adapt or randomise. And if randomise isn't a word for now, it is for the purposes of this exercise. Adapt. Thank you, Paula. Stay on brand, Joanne. Thank you, Joanne. And Shane says adapt. Jay's going 50-50. Oh, sounds like you need to commit, Jay. Okay. All right. Yeah, okay, cool. Thank you. Alrighty, so moving on to step 3 of the secret formula to being funny is to hold up a mirror of truth. So now you know your style and what your audience is likely to experience, so you can sort of match it to them. The next step in the secret formula is to hold up the mirror of truth. Now, you know the saying that it's funny because it's true. If you're a friend of his that has experienced it, other people probably have too. So being funny is all about pointing that stuff out and holding up a mirror and saying, hey, look at this, it's actually pretty funny. And that's a metaphorical, oh my gosh, this is way too early for me. That's a metaphorical mirror, by the way, and not a real one. We don't want anyone getting arrested for stalking or weird behaviour. So the secret is that you don't hold up a mirror to just any part of their life. You want to hold it up to parts of their life that relate directly to your business, product, or service, like what they are doing, what they are experiencing, seeing, and feeling when they use your product and service, right? Because you want to find the commonalities between that and then point out things that either trigger an emotional response in your audience, because often funny is in the stuff that really, really annoys them so that they can laugh about later, or the mundane stuff and the routine things that are in their life and they go about their life and they usually go unnoticed. Because if you start pointing those sorts of things out, that's when it starts to get funny. So, for instance, if you're a workplace health and safety officer, I pity you very much. But like, if you're one of them, you don't want to be talking about things that your cat does. It's not really relevant. It'd be much better to talk about the anger and frustrations that people have about all the red tape that the government makes you do, or the ridiculously condescending tone that safe operating procedures are written in, or how having a safety of background is now affecting your home life because you have to have a safety procedure around changing toilet rolls, and like you have to fill out an incident report every time your partner puts the toilet roll on the wrong way. So you want to find the common ground between your topic and their lives, and then talk about that, if that makes sense. So just out of interest, I wanted to run a quick poll now. I just wanted to know if you think that A or B is the right way to put on a toilet roll. Because this is like the biggest bone of contention. Okay, we've got A, B, 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 A. Oh, we've got it looks like it's pretty split. Okay. All right, so I actually did some research on this on the internet before. B, break the toilet roll. Okay, that's that's interesting. What's he said there? Break the toilet roll holder, it keeps life simple. Okay, good idea. Just put it on the top of the toilet. That's it, much easier. All right, so I actually did a bit of research on the internet beforehand to find out which way was right. And according to the Morgan Gallup to the loophole, if you said B, you're sensible, traditionalist, somebody who takes joy in keeping a well-regulated environment. And everyone who said A is carefree, spontaneous, enthusiastic, and has a very skewed perception of reality. Okay, cool. Okay, so another big question I get asked often is, how do you know if they're laughing with you or at you? And the good thing with speaking is that you'll know pretty quickly because you'll get instant feedback. You'll either get uproarious laughter or crickets. And luckily, there's a pretty simple formula to tell if people are laughing with you or at you as well. And they're laughing with you if they agree with the truth of what you're saying, and laughing at you if you're totally out of alignment with the real world. So in other words, if you're bonding with people, finding common experiences to share, and there's an element of truth that's inclusive, people will laugh and they'll share that laugh with you. And it's as simple as that, really. And I just wanted to share another couple of quick last minute tips with you as well, is to give the funny bit of your presentation to your audiences as a gift. Don't expect that they'll get the joke. Don't expect laughter. Just give it from the goodness of your heart. And if they laugh, then it's a bonus. When you're adding humour, it's much easier to deliver a line and then have to stop and wait for the laughter if you get it, as opposed to saying something funny, expecting a laugh, realising the laugh's not coming, and then have to move forward really quickly. So when you're practising this sort of stuff, practice it from like that you just talk the whole thing straight through, because if you do it the other way and you're like practicing and then you go, oh, that's going to be a laugh there, I'll stop, and then they don't get the laugh, it really messes with your timing and it's really difficult to do. And then Lastly, whatever you do, don't hassle the audience if they don't laugh at your jokes. If they're not laughing, it's because it wasn't funny. So never say stuff like, "Come on, people, that was a good one," or "I don't have time to explain this," sort of thing, because that just gets them offside, and you'll look desperate asking for laughter when it's not warranted. Just accept that they didn't laugh, and you need to do a bit more work on your jokes, and just move on. And audiences are like sharks. Don't ever let them smell blood. They will become suspicious of you and start judging you. Most audiences want you to succeed, and if you start pointing out all the stuff that's not working, they'll lose confidence in you and your message. So don't get up there and say stuff like, "Oh, don't mind me and my daggy jokes," or whatever. Just get out there and own your stuff, because when you say things like that, you are admitting to the audience that you're shit. So why would the audience even want to listen to you? Does that make sense? Just kind of raising hands if that's sort of making sense to everyone. Cool. Excellent. Great. Thanks, Paula. Thanks, Karen. Cool. All right. That's great. Thank you. So back at the start, I promised you I'd show you where to go to get some more information if you wanted. Now, I don't know why you showed up today. It might be because you wanted to find out a bit more about how to be funny as a speaker for the purposes of building rapport and engagement with your audience. Or you might have heard that if you want to make more money, you need to be entertaining. Or you might just think that being funny might give you that extra edge as a speaker. And we talked about some of the benefits to being funny, like how researchers have shown that when you laugh, you feel more comfortable and that it reduces tension. And it's perfect for your audience to experience that, and that laughter is the shortest distance between two people. So it's a really great way to build connection. And that how people remember how you make them feel. So if you make them feel good, they're more likely to buy from you over your competition. And that laughter fires all parts of your brain and improves your learning and memory retention, which is especially good if you want to be remembered and you want your message to be remembered, and if you want to get repeat business and referrals. And I also talked about the fact that anyone can be funny. You just have to step up to the plate and claim that title. And how you can be effortless and stylishly funny without being cringeworthy by just simply 100% being yourself and playing to your strengths. And now you also have that better insight on how to be funny, be a funny speaker with the 3-step formula of knowing yourself, knowing your audience, and holding up a mirror of truth to their lives, with that specific emphasis on interaction with your problem and service. So just to tie it all together, you want to use your personality to your advantage, have some fun with them by pointing out the truths that are on target with your business message and relevant to the life of your audience, and that how funny is often found by reflecting stuff that gives that extreme emotional response, or it's hiding in the mundane and routine aspects of their life, and how to use it as a spice, just to add a bit of flavour and to not overshadow your presentation. So the obvious question now is, how do you implement that? You can do it the slow way by learning the technical aspects and trial and error, like I had to, where I'd write some material, then try it out at comedy clubs in front of live crowds of drunk people, go home, have a wine, have a cry, eat chocolate, put on 20 kilos, rewrite it all again and try again the next week. And I did that over and over and over again for a lot of years. And I've been doing this now for 12 years, and the first few years I drank a lot of alcohol and put on a lot of weight. I can just say that. Or you can do it the fast way with our Humour Me service. So what I've done is I've teamed up with Hawaiian comedian Kay Jackson, and she's been performing internationally for the past 20 years. And what we do is provide a service where we inject humour into speeches and presentations for the purpose of entertaining, engaging, and influencing an audience. So this isn't a service for everyone, though. It's a premium service for premium speakers, as it's a fully done-for-you service. We work with you one-on-one to come up with your personalised humour specific to your style, your message, and your brand. And it's not a public speaking service where we help you structure your presentation. You need to already have that sort of thing worked out. We simply add specific original humour to make your message more relatable and consumable to the audience, and to solve those common presentation problems we talked about at the beginning of the webinar. And this isn't a coaching where we'll work with you on your stage presence, your voice projection, your body language, that sort of stuff. We'll certainly give you training in how to deliver the humorous parts, but you need to already be at that certain level of speaking before we can help you. What we simply do complements and enhances the awesome work you're already doing as a speaker. And this is best. This service is best suited for speakers who want to be funny and make more money, and they want to get lots of interaction with their audience, and they want their presentation to rock every single time. We want you to have the audience in the palm of your hand every single step of the way, so that when the time comes for them to take the next step with you, they're right there with you, ready to go. And as comedians, we have to connect with our audiences within the first 30 seconds of getting on stage, and we have to keep their attention there for the whole time we are on stage. And comedy crowds aren't always on their best behaviour. It's usually late at night, they've been drinking, so we have to be experts in building rapport and maintaining interaction and attention. The problem with most comedians, though, is that they don't have any idea about business and how things work in corporate land. They know very little, if not nothing, about sales funnels, conversion rates, branding, staying on message, all those sorts of things. But fortunately for you guys, we have a good mix of both. Kay Howe and myself have a good mix of both. Kay Howe's been had 25 years working in management positions, and she insists that she started working when she was 5. And I've submerged in all things sales, marketing, systems, finance, operations, and all those sorts of terrible words since running my own business for the last 4 years. And it's great to have my hard work acknowledged when I was announced finalist in the Business Blueprint Entrepreneur of the Year Awards last year. So basically, if you want a funny speech that's on brand and specific to you, we're your girls that can help. This service is specific and tailored to your presentation and your communication style, and it's like getting a custom-made suit. It'll fit you perfectly. So if this sounds like something that interests you, I've just put up a link to where you can go to fill out an expression of interest form and book in a quick strategy call. And there we can just have a 10, 15-minute quick chat about how we can help you and where we can go from here. So if anyone's interested in doing that, please go over to the website and have a look at that. And then I've also wanted to let you know where you can get a copy of the slides and a recording of the webinar. That's just go to that link there. And just give us till this afternoon to get the recording up there. The slides are already there, but the recording isn't. So that's pretty much it from me. Thank you so much today for joining me. This is my first webinar on this topic, so I'm very, very excited. And I'm going to stick around for some questions now. So if you have any questions, just type them into the box on the side in your comment box and I'll answer them. And if you've got any feedback, I'd love to hear that too. So thanks once again, everyone. That's just been really cool. And I'll just hang around for a bit. If you've got questions, just type them into the box. Oh, getting some lovely feedback from Amanda. You're awesome. Well done. Thank you, Amanda. That's very lovely. And I got a lovely message from Jay. Thanks a lot, Kate. Thank you, Jay. That's no problems at all. And Joanne, great talk. Thanks for the tips. Thank you, Joanne. Oh, this is lovely feedback. Thank you, everyone. I feel so excited. Okay. So yeah, if you've got any questions, just type them in the box. I'm happy to hang around. Oh, there we go. Just waiting for some questions to come through. And just on the bottom of the screen there too is that link if you wanted to go and book in a strategy call for a little bit more information. Alrighty. Cool. Looks like we haven't got any questions coming through. I might have just bamboozled everyone with all my awesome content there. But if you do have any questions that pop up during the week or whatever, I'm more than happy to answer them. Just flick me an email. I think I've got, oh yeah, so if you go to the link down there, you can just, all my contact details are there and you can send me a question if you've got anything. If you want to have a further chat, let me know. I'm just double checking that nothing else is coming through. No, I think that's it. Alrighty, so thank you, everybody. I love your work. Have yourselves a wonderful, fantastically awesome, amazing day. And hopefully it's sunny and shiny where you guys are, because it's certainly sunny and shiny in Adelaide where I live. And just getting just a little bit more feedback. Thanks, Kate. No worries. This is cool. All right. Excellent. Cool. Alrighty. So, yeah, head over to katebear.com.au/strategy-call. And if you wanted to book in a call with me and if you want to find out a bit more information, and we'll see you a bit later. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.